Hi, I'm Deborah Atkinson, and this is the Flipping 50 Show, the place to reset, tune up, and shape up for your second and better half with the vitality and the energy that you want. In every episode, I share solutions with women just like you about what they're struggling with most, and I give you the solutions for what to eat, how to move, and your biggest time challenges so that you can focus on one or two key things that'll give you the most results in the least amount of time. If you've got a question, share it with me at flipping50tv.com. And if I choose your question for the show, I'll send you exclusive access to some gifts I'll tell you more about later. Even if I don't choose your question for the show, you'll get my Muscles in Minutes guide for toning those hard to tone areas just for taking the time. So what are you waiting for? Let's start Flipping 50 together. Today's question comes from Zena, who writes, I'm having trouble gaining muscle mass in my upper body. It's really declined in the last year. This episode is for you if you feel like you've been overlooked and you are one of those people who can't gain muscle. But don't go away if that's not you, because it's really about figuring out what's your body type and what's the right type and timing of both your exercise and your meals. So let's have a little talk about muscles in minutes and meals in minutes so we can transform your hormones and your results. Zena, we're going to talk about muscles in minutes and meals in minutes. So we're going to focus on muscles in minutes. And remember, random exercise gets you random results. So we're going to focus on purpose exercise for your hormones and your body type. So Zena, being a female over 50, in order to gain more lean muscle mass anywhere, but especially on top of your body, we need more testosterone, we need more growth hormone. So knowing that, we're going to also look at body type. There are three major body types we want to consider. If you're a mesomorph, for instance, you have a more balanced body, it's more muscular to begin with, and you are someone who thinks, I can't exercise or lift weights because I bulk up too easily. The challenge with that is you probably learned the bulk routine when you were in your 20s and 30s, which is 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Go figure. Does anybody want to go back to their high school coach right now? So what we're going to have you do if you are that more muscular type is lift a little bit lighter and do a few more repetitions. Not what I have everybody do, but that's the solution. If you are the second type, endomorph, you're a little bit more Marilyn Monroe, curvy, a little rounder, a little softer on the edges. So you actually need to lift heavier and do fewer repetitions, do more HIIT, high intensity exercise, and some long, slow cardio exercise to balance that out to get the muscle definition that you want. And Zena, last but not least, is really where you are now. Even if you weren't there when you were younger, you're more of an ectomorph, someone who is much more linear, maybe doesn't have a waistline definition, and is more angular, and you're having trouble adding that muscle mass. So what do we do with that? We need to make sure, first of all, that we cut way back on cardio. Sure, you need it for your heart, but you need it in small doses of more high intensity work. So don't do those long extended bouts of exercise on your elliptical trainer. Shorten them up, do interval training, or just do 30 seconds of some intervals interspersed with 60 to 90 seconds of rest anywhere that you might be. It doesn't have to be an elliptical or a treadmill. Then when we start talking about weight training, what you need to do is that bulk protocol. You need 10 to 12 repetitions to fatigue, 3 sets of it, but here's the real secret. It's rest. How much rest between sets of exercise for the same muscle group you get determines how much you'll be able to have hypertrophy or gain lean muscle. And don't let that word scare you. All that means to you is sexy, toned, defined. So we're gonna show you exactly how to do that so that you get the rest you need for the lean muscle tissue that you actually want. Hey Zena, so we're gonna start with a focus on the chest for your upper body and your goal. What I'm gonna do is jump right in and do it with you. So the pacing on this and the rest between the exercise is really important. And it's just easier if I show it and do it with you. So let's go. You have a weight right now that will fatigue you in 10 to 12 repetitions. Then you're ready to go. So Zena, each repetition is gonna take about 6 seconds. And that's a 1 to 2 seconds up, and then a little slower in 3 to 4 seconds coming down. That means in 1 minute, you're gonna do about 10 repetitions. Keep your hips high. So even though we're focused on the upper body, it's really important you have great form everywhere. You're always multitasking. Exhale, on the way up. Slow and control, coming down. Remind yourself, hips up. Bring the weights into your chest. Tuck your chin in, and then roll up. Okay, Zena, we're gonna take a complete break from using your upper body and do a lower body exercise right now for a minute. So we'll do 10 repetitions, keeping that same pace you just did. Here we go. So it's a push, and then come down slowly. Gonna make sure your weight's on your heels. Remember your exhale here, right there. Core is nice and tight. Toes are wiggling inside of your shoe. Exhale on the way up. I'm going to keep that breath going. You're almost there. And then set that weight down carefully, and you're done. Okay, we're gonna use minute 3 for a core exercise, Zena, because while you're getting adequate rest for your upper body, I don't want you to be that person who's sitting there checking her cell phone, just resting. We're gonna use your time effectively and still give you the rest for the muscle group that we're really focusing on. So this core exercise is gonna take some really high-tech tools. So I want you to go find either a manila file folder or a paper plate and come down to the floor with me. Okay, Zena, so in your plank, you're gonna take your paper plate, put it under one toe. So get your shoes right on top of it, and then make sure you've got great form. We're gonna do windshield wipers. So alternate sets of 10 up to a minute. Keep your hips low. Pull your shoulder blades back together. And then pass it off. Try to keep things balanced on both sides. And when a minute's done, you're done. Okay, Zena, we need another exercise so that we give you adequate rest before we return to your chest exercise. So we're gonna slide either a stretch or I'm on a foam roller into this minute. Everybody needs a little hip release. So anytime you can stretch the hip or roll, we're gonna do it. This, Zena, is how we roll. So I want you to be sitting on it, sit back on your jeans pocket, right where it would be, cross one leg over, and we're gonna start rolling on that major muscle group, right where the sofa cushions are. And when I'm smiling, it's feeling really good. So when you find a knot, you just hang out there a little bit, keep rolling right on that, and move gradually side to side, because those are big, broad muscles right there. And then you can take a little broader sweep, get all the way up to your hip bucket. You gotta give equal time to the other side. So you shift, so you come over to the side, you're gonna roll on, cross the ankle, and then start again. Little tip about rolling, Zena. You're gonna notice one side needs it more than the other. A little more or a little less comfortable from one side to the other is normal. Hang out on those spots where it's a little bit tighter, roll through them crosswise and side to side. And then at the end of 30 seconds each, you're finished with that last minute, and we can go right back and start your chest press again, having adequate rest so that you can actually gain lean muscle mass from the great work that you're doing. Zena, the last thing we need to talk about is meals in minutes. Doing all this great exercise and getting the right amount of rest is like building the second and the third story on a house with no foundation. So let's talk about how to get that strong foundation right now. Zena, let's talk about your foundation. What it really takes is 3 meals of 25 to 35 grams of protein. You need adequate calories overall, but you really need to zone in on that protein if you want to add lean muscle mass and keep it. So what you're doing for breakfast, we're going to come back and talk about. And what you're doing around your exercise, we're also going to elaborate about. Want to just check in on lunch, that beautiful green salad you're doing. It's amazing, a plate full of antioxidants, but what's missing with the little bits of garbanzo beans that you're adding, we're not even coming close to 25 to 35 grams of protein. So if you prefer to do a plant-based lunch, that's great, but you've got to calculate and make sure you're adding. So think about how many grams of protein in that serving of garbanzo beans. Add some quinoa, add some nuts and seeds, add some other little add-ins that might add 2 or 3 grams of protein each, and just make sure you're doing some calculating to get to that number, because it's really important. The easy way to do it, of course, is to add some fish, some chicken, some other type of lean protein, or fatty fish is great too, and you get there. You're doing great with your dinner, building it around a lean protein or a fatty fish, lots of vegetables, and a little bit of carbohydrates. Don't change a thing there. Now, let's talk about protein powders and how you choose the right one. Zena, your foundation starts with a really high protein, high quality breakfast. And we're gonna start with talking about eggs. They have 6 grams of protein. Even with an egg, that's gonna make it really hard to get to 25 to 35 grams of protein at breakfast. In comes protein shakes and powders. And we're gonna talk about how you choose the best one for breakfast and the best one for around exercise, whether it's pre or post, right here. Zena, protein powders and choosing them can be mind-boggling because there's whey, there's soy, there's hemp, there's egg, there's casein, and it goes on and on and on. So if you walk down the aisle, there are dozens to choose from, not to mention different brands carrying their own variation. So let me narrow it down and make it super simple with 3 that I like and love and tell you exactly why. Number 1 is whey, and that's what you're doing right now. You're doing it at breakfast and you're doing it around exercise. You're 50% right, and here's why. Around exercise, whey is perfect. pre or post because it's easy to digest. It's rapidly absorbed and taken up by the muscles, which helps you have more energy, not be bloated or feel bogged down if you need to have something to eat right before exercise because it's been 3 or 4 hours and you know you'll work harder with something in your stomach. It's also true that for adults over 50, according to the American College of Sports Medicine in a recent article, do better with about 24 grams of protein before a moderate to vigorous intensity workout and 25 to 40 grams of protein after. And your muscles are ripe for that at about 90 minutes after exercise. So if you're not due for a meal, a whey protein shake is a perfect alternative. So it's rapidly absorbed, easy to digest, and that's why pre and post exercise, it gets right into the muscle to do the magic that it's supposed to do. But that's also why you don't want whey at other times of day. So if you're gonna need a breakfast, but you're not working out till much later in the day, or you're looking for an afternoon snack at the office and maybe a smoothie that's made with chocolate, because let's face it, chocolate makes everything better, will kind of calm your cravings. You don't want to go for a whey at that time of day. You want to choose something else because if it goes in and is rapidly digested, your blood sugar increases a little bit. When that happens, insulin comes out. When insulin's released, fat metabolism stops. So even though our focus is on building lean muscle, we don't want to be affecting fat in a negative way either. So we want to keep a focus and an eye on both. Next up, we've got 2 other options. So what if you need a convenient breakfast, but you're not exercising till later in the day? Whey's out of the picture, but you've got 2 other things to consider. So one is plant-based protein. So I use a pea-based protein, totally plant-based. I call it plant-powered girl. So if you're vegan or vegetarian, you're gonna love this. And if you're not and you eat animal protein, don't tune out because I do too, but I still include it in my diet. And here's why. You can have that and have a stable blood sugar. It's not gonna spike it at all. So you could have it for breakfast or a snack and be great. And it comes in chocolate or vanilla. Now, I have to warn you, plant-based proteins all come with a little texture that no product, no company has been able to overcome yet. But if you're adding fruit or you're adding something like a creamy avocado, that'll take a little bit of that texture away and the flavor is so good you won't even notice. So plant-based or peas specifically, any time of day is awesome. That brings me to our third and last choice. It's the last one I use. And this is gonna sound weird, so bear with me, but a hydro beef. That's not beef collagen and it doesn't taste anything like beef broth. It's chocolate or vanilla, comes in flavors, and you can add it to a smoothie so it tastes as close to a malt as you're gonna get, but it's also a high quality animal protein. So if you know you've got more energy when you eat animal protein than when you only eat plant, and some of us need to find that out the hard way, this is a great way to go if you're trying to get protein in without dairy and without soy. So you've got 3 options. Now, the question I get asked most frequently is, what do you use? So here's my answer. I love them all. I tolerate dairy just fine and I use whey, pre or post exercise. I'd much rather use it for a post-exercise smoothie and breakfast combination, but sometimes I have early morning appointments and I need to eat something before I exercise because it's been too long since I woke up, and I'll have a little whey smoothie right before I get started. But if I'm not working out or middle of the afternoon, I'm really wanting something and need it, I'll have one of these too. And I like to rotate them because anything we have really often, we're much more likely to become not allergic, but sensitive to. So rotating them rotates the nutrients you get. So my love is all of them. So the key flip of the day is it's all about type. The right type of exercise and the right fuel for your results and goals. Thanks for your questions, Zena, and let me know how it goes. And now I'd like to hear from you. What's your question or your biggest challenge? Send it to me at flipping50tv.com. And if I choose your question to feature on the show, I'll send you exclusive access to the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women online course and a copy of You Still Got It, Girl, the book. Plus, my friends at Anne Marie Skincare will share with you a trio of their full-size products. You're going to be beautiful from the inside out. What are you waiting for? Let's start flipping 50 together.